Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Yo, set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 So life ain't easy, yo, I think there's a reason though. Ups and downs, just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high, other times I'm barely breathing, though. I always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison, they rot. Head full of flaws, so here come the clouds. They'll never stop unless I can swap all the bad for the good in my head when I'm lost. Yeah, so I'ma fake it till I make it. Positive thoughts are overtaken, I got patience. One day at a time is how you operate a cadence. A flow, you grow, you show yourself a foundation. Stay away from all the shit that causes temptation. I know that I like to do it cause of sensation. I live my life in my head like a narration. Don't expect greatness, do my best, man, I'll take it. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
It's 3 places that you can stay for absolutely free. 3 of them. You ain't got to pay a doggone thing. Hear me. Understand that you can stay out my face for free. You can stay out my business for free. And you can stay out my way for free. Those things won't cost you a doggone thing. 3 places you can stay for absolutely free. Thank you.
Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.
Well, good morning, you crazy people up entirely too early like Mab, 4 a.m. on a Sunday morning. So tell me, Mab, you going to church? I'm just joking. Good morning, Southern Granny Wolf. Nice to see you. Bullhorn Betty is obviously present. We have fun times with Heatha in the house. Nice to see you. Gator for Life. Tammy T, Angel Loader, Patricia Miller, Amber K. Nice to see you all. Dana, hopefully I'm saying that right. Belinda, Maddie Down, Help me, Rhonda. Help me, Rhonda. Sunshine Vibes. Nice to see you, Melly Joe. We have Peak Peony, Colleen Howard, Daisy Chain, Bree, Miss Robin. Couldn't quite get out. Good morning, so we gave her a second go at it. Good morning. Pen 1010, Sylvia. Mab up entirely too early in the morning. Nice to see you. Freckles, Julie. Land Rum. I don't know what that is. Nice to see you. Tamara, nice to see you. Merja. I don't know what's going on with you, Jennifer, but we can't have that kind of stuff in this chat. Sorry. Come back in here with a different name. Or write me and say it was just a misspeak and I'll unblock you. But I think that's the second time I've seen a weird comment from you. So they've both been removed now. Sweetie Pie, Freckles, Irene, Jimbo is in the house. Sonia, just reminded me that I forgot to write into the chat that we're going live. My mods are going to kill me. Nick, nice to see you. Trio. Undiscovered Mermaid. Bryn. Cavio in the house. Joke Score? Is that right? Joke Score? I don't know. But nice to see you from Ontario. Moonlight Magic. Robin Stevens. Nice to see you. Kaboom. Dumplin is up early this morning. She probably didn't go to sleep yet. I'm just joking. Angela Ashburr, Daisy Chain. Who else do we have in here? Oh, lovely Jubbly. Nice to see you. I haven't seen you here, or at least I haven't said hi to you in a good long time. Brittany Blue Eyes. Nice to see you. And Pat Gaines. Good morning. Good morning, all. Don't forget to hit that like button as you come in. And as we're going through all this stuff, there's several cases that are going on. One over in the UK, and that is, oh Lord, I had my paper. I must have left my notebook on my bed. Sorry about that, guys. But it's bully, something bully. Let me see, bully. Okay. Sorry, guys. And there's still what is it Nicola? Bully is apparently missing over in the UK. Plus, we had some sad information that goes really in line with a lot of the stuff that I've been talking about here on YouTube about the bullying, the cyberbullying, using social media to humiliate and hurt people. And, those people go off and, themselves, you're responsible for that. You're responsible for that. And 3 or 4 girls are now learning that to be true, where they beat up a girl in school, recorded themselves doing it. The father showed pictures of bruises all over her body. It happened inside the school. She was unconscious. They didn't call ambulance for her. They sent her to the nurse's station. Until this girl lost her life, nothing was done to the girls that bullied her, physically fought her, and then bullied her online thereafter. And she ended up taking herself, unalived herself, and her family is fighting and obviously grieving very much that the school did absolutely nothing, which they did not do anything to those girls until this point. But at the end of the day, excuse me, the girls are now arrested. And there is cyber stalking laws for children that are more aggressive in just about every single one of our states. I've been fighting for more adult legislation to protect adults, because at the end of the day, we're human too. We have feelings too. Things can push us over the edge too. But this is the reality of it. Those girls are facing some serious charges. They are felonies. And this is going to change the rest of their life because they tried to be cool on social media. And one person lost their life because of it. And this is why I keep saying this has got to stop on social media. And it's really upsetting that YouTube doesn't do more on their own platform to prevent this type of bullying, which we see time and time again, primarily from the cockroach channels. But from what I hear is that it happens in all these channels. And so even like yarn and crafts and stuff like that, they have haters too. Why is this okay? It's the same people that had all these. Let me just be honest with you. It's the same people that fought to end bullying that are the ones that are doing the bullying. I've seen it with my own eyes. I've seen it with my own eyes. People want to know why I don't have a 9-to-5 job. What's the point? What's the point? So they can try to get me fired from my job, because that's what these people try to do. So guess what? It's been happening for a long time. Ever since I was in politics. I still am in politics. Where the way I sit right now, I'm able to pay my bills. And you know what? They can't call my boss and get me fired unless they want to get told to F off, because the only boss they're going to be calling is me directly. I don't have any more businesses, right? I hardly go out of my house anymore because of it. If you don't think these people will eventually pay, they will pay. They will. These girls are having a good lesson in being held accountable for your actions. And there are so many people that need to additionally be held accountable for their actions. But I just thought I'd bring those stories up before we got in. It is Sunday, so, maybe today would be a great day for all of us to be praying for those that are suffering, not only in our chat, but outside of our chat. And I always pray even for the haters, because think about how miserable their life truly is for them to be the way they are. Think about it. These people are just nasty people. They have nasty lives. They have nothing but conflict going on in their home. They have nothing but conflict going on in their immediate life, so much so that they have to wield what they can't do at home on other people. So we also have to remember the haters suffer too. That's what makes them the haters. They have miserable lives. They have no functioning good relationships, no good marriages. Relationships with their children, I'm sure, are pretty tattered, shattered, and otherwise. Many of us have the same kind of problems, but instead of being nasty and living our lives in anger, we choose to do something positive with it. And that's what makes us so special. So I'm leaving today. My congestion's getting a little bit better. I took a bunch of vitamin D and vitamins yesterday. I'm not sure what was going on with me, but this has happened, I think, when I first got back from Idaho, and then it just came out of nowhere. So I figured, I changed my air filters. I realized I hadn't changed my air filters in quite some time in the house. So for all the other people that procrastinate on air filter change, this is your notification to get your air filters changed in your house. Mine were disgusting. So I got fresh air coming through the house now, which I'm happy about. And I woke up this morning, the congestion's a little gone. It's just right here. It's allergies. I deal with it every year. Well, I shouldn't say every year. I deal with it about 6 months. 6 months I have good times, no sinus problems. 6 months I have nothing but sinus problems. So that's my life. It's Florida. We only get really 2 seasons, hot and hotter. Yeah, this year is bad. And not only that, but I think I've aggravated it by being in Idaho, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Pennsylvania. I mean, think about it. We're only here. We've only been, we're only halfway through the second month of the year. And this year, I have already been to Idaho, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and about to head to, but that's just for work. I'm about to head to West Palm Beach. And I'll be there for a few days, and I'll give you guys a sneak peek when I come back, but it'll probably most likely be on my Facebook as opposed to YouTube here at large. So It's interesting. It'll be interesting. I missed your comment. Yes. Night Owl. What is this? Good morning. Nice to see you, Tammy. Good morning, everyone. I don't like bullies. There are so many of them. Yes, there are. And it's very important for us to realize that people do lose their lives of bullying, and not necessarily at the hands of bullying. They usually use their own hands to do it because they've just had enough. And I think it's very, very disgusting. And I hope, the people at least that come to this channel know the importance about abstaining from people that bully others. So it would be my hope that you guys are not even looking behind the curtain, because you got to understand these people are monetized accounts. So even if you want to, I don't even look. If they have my name in the title, I won't even go over there and look. I won't. If they have my name in the title, when somebody says, I delete it. I don't like seeing it. I will not give them 1/4 of a cent to see even the first 2 seconds of it. I won't pay for somebody to bully other people. And there are several on there. So it is what it is. But that's it. We're going to move on to another case once I dive into Nicola. Am I saying her name right? Nicola Bully? Nicola Bully? Did I say her name right? Stay strong, do you? We love you here. Oh, I know. We have a lot of, I read about the girl in Jersey. Yeah, it is very sad. It is very sad. So intimidation is the best form of flattery. Mike Stevens says. Well, we know, they flatter me a lot. You must be doing something right if they have websites and social media of accounts just designed just to attack this show. That tells you how powerful we must be to them, for them to spend so much time, so many resources and everything on just one channel. That's a true testament to how powerful we are becoming. And they're handing us the keys. If the hate channels were smart, they would just quit talking about me, because all they do is make people leave them and come over here. We're getting about, I don't know, about 20 people to every one person those hate channels have come to their channels as a subscriber. But I hope none of my people are subscribing to any of these channels. But do what you will. I'm a liberty person. Nobody is to tell you what to do, because nobody's going to tell me what to do. So I figured we started off with this smaller channel about Dylan breaking her silence, and we never quite finished it because, quite frankly, I don't know who this guy is. It was only to make a point that Banfield, Ashley Banfield, is getting her sources from places that aren't considered sources. We have one wonderful person that, we have a lot of wonderful people in this chat, but one wonderful person that's really dug in her heels to really fact check the stuff coming out of Ashley Banfield is ours truly, Just Samantha, which we see in here quite often. And she's really been doing her due diligence in this, and she's actually found the sources for Banfield's articles, and come to find out there's social media people that are not even connected to the case. Not even connected to the case, like the one about the termination letter. I just did a video on that yesterday. And I said, Ashley, you got some explaining to do, because the school cited a very specific right for the parents, a privacy right that the schools provide. You can't get information about somebody's schooling, about their behavior in school, and things of that nature. These schools will not give that to you. Students and parents have privacy rights when they send their children to a public college. And so it is, the letter that she was reading, the letter she had, there is no possibility of that being accurate or coming from the school, because the only letter that would have came from the school would have went directly to Brian Koberger. When you look at the top of the letter, there's no real letterhead to it. It wasn't an official letter. And now all these major news stations, because Ashley Banfield talked about this source that really wasn't a source. It was a TikToker trying to build a channel that fraudulently prepared a letter and made it look like it came from the school. Now it's all over the internet as coming from that school. So the school has actually come out and responded to that allegation saying, wait a minute, we've never talked to anybody about this because our students have privacy. We would have never spoke to them. We would have never sent a letter out like that, nor would we have given anybody a copy of a letter like that. So why is Ashley Banfield intentionally manipulating the truth? Yeah. And then we hear the other allegations. Hold on, guys. I got to blow my nose. I apologize. And then we have another story come out that's talking about how a source close to Dylan Mortensen has stated that what she's saying happened and what is in the probable cause affidavit are contradicting each other. And then we find out that she gets her news from this channel right here. This is where she got that news from. This is a person talking about their friendship with Dylan Mortensen and about conversations Dylan Mortensen may have had or allegedly had with this person and his girlfriend. First of all, we don't know who this person is. We don't know his girlfriend. And how are we going to verify that the statements he's making are accurate, true, and correct? And not just somebody pretending to be Dylan Mortensen. Now, remember, how are they able to get away with all of this, right? Because big people in media, such as Ashley Banfield, her friend over at People Magazine, whatever his name is, that wrote those 5 articles, those bombshell articles, they know that everybody is under a gag order. Nobody can come out and say you're lying. They're under a gag order. So they can say law enforcement told them this, that somebody close to this witness told them that, oh my God, we've got Brian Koberger going into the Mad Greek restaurant. He ate twice and nobody can dispute it. Nobody can dispute it. Because why? Because everybody close to the case, including the families of the victims, are prevented from speaking. That sounds pretty awfully convenient that we have all these bombshell revelations all of the sudden after the gag order is put in place, and nobody, and I mean nobody, close to the investigation can refute or confirm any of this. And in so much so, if Dylan was talking to her friend about this case, wouldn't she herself be in violation of that very specific gag order that was placed almost immediately on this case? Just a question. Just a question. I sent you an email with the Lions. Thank you. Thank you, Mab. I'll check the emails in just a second. Yes, there is an education privacy law that's similar to HIPAA. The university is not allowed to put that info out. And if someone did share it, can be fined up to $5,000. A friend of a friend of a friend who runs around with a friend who hangs out with a friend who runs with a friend who knows Dylan. That is about it. Thank you. And that put it into great perspective. So I don't care who these people are. People are like, well, at least she's a legit reporter. Is she? Is she a legit reporter? If she's legitly lying to everybody she's reporting to? We have freedom of press. We have the rights to report the news, right? The news. That's it. VHB, that channel sounds like Enan Harsh. Take a listen to him at 0.05 playback speed. In addition, the channel was made 2 weeks after Ian Harsh's channel. Interesting. Interesting. Thank you for that tidbit of information. And everybody was asking, where did Enan go? You know, he just kind of disappeared. He was really hot and heavy, you know, and then boom, gone. It makes you wonder. It makes you wonder. So I'm going to play some of this. We started it off. Let me just back up just a little bit. Now, mind you, we can't see this guy's face, can't see his information, and he goes by predator prey. So it's not likely that we really know who he is, what his name is, and where he lives to confirm that he, in fact, knows Dylan Mortensen. But we're going to play little pieces. This is being played under fair use. We're going to be doing commentary and criticism on this very video. So this video will be stopped periodically to discuss, comment and to criticize, because I'm how can I corroborate this person knows Dylan Mortensen first and foremost, just because they talk? I mean, anybody can talk. I mean, look at Alec Murdaugh, right? Can be very serious, knows exactly what makes people tick, and can lie straight to our face. Do you think that's because maybe they're trying to make it so they have their suspect in the case close no matter what, and so that Ellie doesn't look like they got duped? I don't know. We all got duped with this law enforcement, and you know what? The double-sided sword, the double-edged sword for this is that people are going to start not listening to law enforcement and not listening to the facts of the case, because law enforcement is known to lie to us. And so we're going to still start with this case, the Mascow case, I stuck strictly with law enforcement's facts. You know, even when I went outside of law enforcement, I always directed us back to law enforcement's facts about what they're saying happened to the case. I will continue to do that, but I'm going to be very cautious as saying that even law enforcement statements are true. That's a bad situation for law enforcement moving forward, because I'm going to have to remind you about the Idaho 4 and how we were lied to on multiple times. Now, granted, I'm not mad at them. I'm glad, whatever it takes to get the assailant behind bars. Obviously that's number one. At the end of the day, that's number one. But could they have told us the truth or left stuff out without deceiving us? Could they have just not made comment on it versus lying to us? I think they could have. I think they could have, instead of saying 3 to 4, I think they could have just maintained early morning hours. There's a lot of stuff, even the car. We know it's a newer make and model of a Hyundai Elantra, right? I just feel like there could have been other things that were said to us that would not have lied to us, but would have provided us the same amount of information and in the same context. So I'm not sure why they did that. So we're going to just skip here. I'm going to let you guys listen to it up front, and we're going to talk.
Before we dive into what I'm referring to about the feds screwing or attempting to screw Dylan.
I mean, this guy, just on the way he talks, seems, I hate saying it. People are probably going to beat me up over saying this. He sounds lazy. I'm sorry. Just by the simple way he speaks, he sounds to me as lazy. Good morning, beautiful. Love you. Oh, thank you, Belinda. Love you too. Thank you so much. Thank you for the super chat. God bless you. He just sounds lazy to me.
I'll give you a brief background as to who I am. So my girlfriend is in Dylan's inner circle.
Who says that? about this. Who uses those terminology? My girlfriend's in Dylan's inner circle. Who says that? Who says that? Would you say, oh, Laura is in my inner circle? No, you would say Laura is my friend. So he would, like, right then and there, it makes me speculate, because he says, my girlfriend's in Dylan's inner circle. Nobody says that. Who the hell says that? You know who says that? Law enforcement. That's it. Talking about circles and inner circles and you know, we talk about that in the true crime, you know, aspect. But is she a friend or in the inner circle? Because typically people that are friends don't say, hey, I'm in the inner circle. They say, you know, Dylan's my friend. So right off the rip, I am, hi, May May, nice to see you. Melinda, nice to see you too. So I'm just curious. So there we have that. Inner circle, not friend, inner circle. It just doesn't bode well with me.
And by inner circle, I mean inner circle.
So not only just inner circle, but inner circle. What does that mean? Is she a friend? Is she a family member? What does the inner circle mean? And who uses inner circle to describe a friendship?
Like they've hung out almost every day since the incident.
But they've hung out every day since the incident. Since the incident. Okay, well, where was she when the photographers were following Dylan Mortensen around? If she was there with her every day since the incident, at what point? Yeah, he did. He doubled down on the inner circle. It was a convincing language. He was using that language to convince people. It's convincing language. It's I don't like it. I don't like it. So now we know she's not just inner circle, she's inner circle, and Dylan has been hanging out with her almost every day since the incident, but she must have taken a break from her friend, the inner circle friend, while she was being hunted down by Daily Mail. Okay, now that I got it.
Occurred, and I've seen her a plethora of times as well.
I've seen her a plethora of times. If you've seen her a plethora of times, do you have permission to even talk about it then? I mean, she seems like she would like this stuff private. Why are you on your YouTube talking about inner circle, convincing us that she is a friend, that your girlfriend has been with her every single day, except she must have failed to show up on the days that Daily Mail was following Dylan Mortensen everywhere, because I didn't really see her with anybody else. Just saying.
So you're going to notice I'm not going to use words like allegedly, supposedly, because all of this is actual firsthand factual information.
Actual firsthand information. He obviously doesn't know what hearsay is.
Where should I start to clear things up? First of all, there's a lot of misconception about Dylan suffering from PTSD or trauma or any of that. None of that is accurate.
I truly believe none of that is accurate, but that's not because I'm in the inner circle, and my inner circle girlfriend has been hanging out with her every single day.
In fact, when we try to console Dylan after the incident, she's the one that was laughing at me and my girlfriend and I, talking about we're so weird, when we tried to give her a hug. And
yeah, I got that vibe too, dude. Don't worry about it. I think her weird vibes are spot on. Just FYI.
Stuff. So
that sounds almost uncomfortable. We walked up to her and gave her a hug, and she thought we were weird. she was laughing because we were weird. And do you think she's laughing? Do you honestly believe Dylan thinks this is a laughing matter? I'm just curious.
Well, she's still the same old Dylan. She's had a rough life growing up. She's been through a lot. She doesn't have PTSD and didn't suffer any trauma. The incident that night, and what I'm referring to with the Fed actually put a lot of words into her mouth that she didn't say herself first. So there was a lot of leading statements that they were insinuating to her.
Okay.
And she was really scared.
So this is firsthand knowledge, but he's talking about hearsay facts. So he's not going to say allegedly or supposedly, but what you're hearing here is what is known as hearsay. He's trying to say that Dylan told him that these things were happening. So for it not to be hearsay, those statements need to come back from Dylan, not him, because that has nothing to do with first-hand knowledge. Clearly, he doesn't understand that.
Scared the first few days, obviously, after the incident occurred. So
the first few days after the incident occurred, let's talk about that. So the day that the incident occurred, let me just pull this back and we'll just have a chat here just before we get too far into this. So the first day that all this happened on the 13th, I can guarantee the majority of that entire day, she was in a hot seat at a police station. She was being interrogated, most likely for hours. They probably kept her in a room or comfortable for hours. Hours. So much so that she hired an attorney, supposedly. But immediately after this occurrence where she finds this bloodbath, she's going to go hang out with friends. Literally immediately after this incident, not console with family, not talk to her family, not tell them anything about what happened, not, have her family embrace her. She looked like she obviously takes care of herself, runs in her community, things of that nature. But her first thing was to go hang out with friends. I don't know if anybody, if that is believable for anybody, because if I saw something like that happened to 4 of my roommates, I don't know if I could pull myself out of bed for at least a few days. Just dealing with all the stress and frustration. I mean, I'm not sure. But then again, I'm not a 20-something, right? I'm not a 20-something. So could that have been different? Maybe. But I don't know. Let's just keep listening.
The reason none of it makes sense in the affidavit is because it didn't really happen.
So now we're going to talk about this not really happening. Okay. Now you're talking about an affidavit of probable cause. And Jennifer Coffendorfer said it best yesterday when she said that these statements that were in this affidavit would have been recorded and would have had a signed affidavit from Dylan Mortensen. So he's basically alleging that she committed perjury, that she lied under oath to law enforcement, including the FBI. Now, mind you, you can plead the fifth to the FBI. You cannot commit any crime that they are questioning you on. However, even if you didn't commit a crime and you lie to the FBI, you can go to jail for lying to the FBI, even if you never committed one crime. Did you know that? That's why I find it funny when people try to say that we somehow planted evidence in the Brian Laundrie case and turned that evidence over to the FBI. That would be a form of lying to the FBI. And I would have been arrested. Olivia would have been arrested. JJ would have been arrested. Mike Ruiz with Fox News would have been arrested. And JLR would have been arrested. Let's keep going. These are his allegations. He's saying that they're putting words in her mouth. They're forcing her. They're holding a gun to her head, even with an attorney present, that they have put a gun to her head and made her make statements that were not true or correct with an attorney sitting right next to her. Let's keep going.
That way. So she never stood there shocked when she saw the individual. She was just standing in her doorway, like, like anybody who opens the door. It was just, she opened the door and yelled at Ethan and Xana, and who she thought was their friend. She yelled at them to be quiet.
They're getting brutally murdered in the house, and she's screaming out the door saying, "Be quiet." I believe the PCA was very, very creatively written. And Nani, and I agree with that. And I said if they could prove 85% of that probable cause affidavit, he's screwed. Brian Kohberger is screwed. But we have to remember that this is not just a 20-year-old girl sitting in the hot seat wanting to know what happened to the girls inside the home. We know damn well she was being interrogated as a potential suspect, and she was entitled to an attorney, which she got. So this guy is acting as if she has no counsel in that room with her. We all know she did have counsel with her. Her counsel would have told her, do not lie to the FBI and write down exactly what happened as you recall. They would have had that supported by the conversations, by the audio of these interviews with her. All these interviews, none of these interviews with Dylan would have been unrecorded. They would have been recorded from, her mom is a lawyer. Well, either way, they didn't say her mom was in that room. They said that she retained a lawyer. So even if her mom was a lawyer, maybe they called a friend in. And if that is the case, and it comes back to what horrible life did she live if she has a mom that's an attorney? So this is just causing more questions than explaining. Wouldn't it be awesome if the FBI pulled the IP address for the channel like this and arrested them? Well, what are they going to arrest him for? He's exercising his freedom of speech. He's allowed to lie. Lying is protected under the freedom of speech, believe it or not. One thing you can't do is lie under oath, and the other thing you can't do is lie to an FBI agent. Those will get you criminal charges. But talking on these channels like this, lying is protected by the First Amendment, believe it or not. And again, can't corroborate any of this information he's saying. And by the way, he believes that this is firsthand knowledge. Conversations between her and police officers, he has firsthand knowledge of. So unless he was sitting in that room, this is all hearsay.
That's what was going on with that situation. And she just went back into her room. She locked the door like usual. And went to sleep. Everything was quiet after she yelled at them, so she didn't think anything of it. For everyone who's creating these random stories about her being shocked or traumatized, she didn't realize anything was going on. And it might sound crazy, it might sound dumb, but she really had no clue anything was going on. They're being a little loud, so she yelled.
A little loud. The defensive wounds on Xana alone indicate to me that it was a lot louder than what people believe. You know, I was thinking when all this stuff was going on, these kids were in their bed, they were sleeping, they were attacked, off guard, and that gave the assailant extra power over them because they were in a very vulnerable state. And now we find out that there was defensive wounds. So you're telling me that that she's not screaming, "Get out of here! What are you doing?" as she's fighting off her attacker. We know that Xana put up a fight. We know that. So let's just keep going. The 1,000 reasons why I have questions with this video.
Told them to be quiet, and that's it. She locked her door, and she just went back to her room. You know, and she didn't want to be nosy or anything.
Nosy?
So, you know, she was kind of new to that house, so she didn't want to be nosy.
She may have been new to that house. She may very well have been new to that house. But I don't care. I don't know if anybody, whether new to the house or not, has a man in clad after hearing in black and only showing how many people in that house were actually wearing masks. How many people have come in that house wearing masks that she's been in? These are the questions that I have for Dylan Mortensen. You know, these are the questions the defense is going to have for Dylan Mortensen. Why would she believe that this tall figure she's never seen before is okay being in her house, walking through it, and just doesn't want to be nosy? I don't give a rat's ass. If I'm living in a home, my first response would be, I don't care who you are, I've got to live here too. Please don't have strangers in this house after XYZ time. Next time I will call the law. And she says that she's new in the house and didn't want to cause a stir. Well, she seemed very friendly in all the photos that I've seen. I don't want to give her excuses. And I feel like, Eileen, I feel like this is an excuse. And you're probably absolutely right. You know, it was the, you know, a party night. All of the 4 victims were obviously drinking. So it would be, you know, probable that we would think the other 2 people that were out in the Mascow area would have also partook in some, you know, celebratory type of drinks, even though underage. Her and Bethany were most recent roommates. I can't wait to hear the day to come to be able to tell her truth. I have a feeling a lot of people are going to feel like crap. And, you know, and if this is his statement, you know, Dylan has more explaining to do than what we know. I mean, I just don't, I think that was one of the things that were said in here when this case was breaking. We were talking about it and people were like, they were saying, how are they getting unconscious? How can the roommates not have heard anything? We're hearing now that whole thing where they didn't hear anything, they didn't see anything is a lie. They did hear, they did see, and everybody is focused on Dylan Mortensen. But, you know, in all fairness, what about Bethany? Why isn't people picking on Bethany and wanting to know where her affidavit is, what she saw? I mean, the front door was open that morning and Brian Koberger was in the area that morning. It makes me wonder, did he go inside the home? Again, I really believe he did. I truly believe he realized nobody was up, nobody was there, and I feel like he snuck back into the room or into that house to look at his work, to see if they were still there, to try to figure out why there was no crime scene tape around the property. I truly believe that. But Jessie Lynn says her and Bethany were the most recent roommates. I can't wait for her day to come to be able to tell her truth. I have a feeling a lot of people are going to feel like, I don't know. I believe that I feel bad for Bethany and Dylan. personally. I feel horrible that they were put in this position. However, if the facts are like, I don't believe this guy because I don't know, especially knowing Dylan Mortensen had a lawyer, especially knowing she spoke to the FBI as well as multiple law enforcement agencies when she was giving her statement. I don't believe what they put in the affidavit was false and a flat out lie. What I think is happening, if this guy does truly know Dylan, which I don't know if that's even a true statement to make, because how are we going to corroborate it? We don't know this guy's name. We don't know anything about him. We have no receipts showing us that he is in and around Dylan Mortensen at any time, let alone his girlfriend. We have nothing to corroborate his statements here. He's just talking. He has provided literally no receipts. And this is one that the Banfield picked up on and ran with as if it was true, because she's having a low news day. Let's keep going.
And, get up all up in their business, especially at, in the middle of the night or early morning. So it's as simple as that. Everyone trying to blow that whole situation into something that's not. So yeah, that's that. And she didn't actually get a real good look at Brian.
Well, in all fairness, that's exactly what the probable cause affidavit stated. They never stated Dylan Mortensen identified Brian Koberger. They stated that it was a man in black, had a mask over his mouth and nose, and all she could see was his bushy eyebrows. He was athletically built, 5'10" or taller. Athletically built, but not muscular. Not muscular, but athletically built. That's what was stated in the probable cause affidavit. So that sounds exactly what this man is saying. So I don't get it.
At the time, she assumed it was one of Xana and Ethan's friend who was just getting ready to leave, who was walking out. She didn't get that good of a look. The feds were really aggressive with Dylan the first few days, which is why she hired the.
Oh, those first few days that your girlfriend was with her? Is that those first few days? So she's involved with law enforcement, not really your girlfriend. Did he just realize he just contradicted himself? Maybe not. Let's keep going.
Attorney to begin with, because of the treatment of her during the interview, more like an interrogation.
Yeah, she was the only person in the house. She's got 4 dead roommates. She's on the second floor where she could have clearly heard something going on in the room feet from her. Yeah, they're going to go after her pretty hard. She's a suspect. She's in the hot seat. That's how it works.
To be honest. So that's why she got an attorney, because the way they were talking to her.
So she didn't file the affidavits yet. She just didn't like how she was being treated by law enforcement, so she got an attorney. So that means that her attorney saw her statements and approved her statements moving forward. That's what attorneys do.
And, they didn't really understand or believe why she's the only one alive when you kind of skip rooms to get to the other 2 rooms. So she didn't really like the feel of how the interrogators or the feds were talking to her. And within like a few days after the incident, they approached her with pictures of Brian. It was like, is this the guy? Do you think this is the guy? This is definitely him, right? And they were almost leading her to believe this has to be the person.
Leading her to believe that this has to be the person. There are so many checks and balances in law enforcement with and I just want to explain the process to you guys when they're doing positive identification. So what they do when they're doing positive identification, there is a process that has to go on so that it's admissible into court. Okay. So usually the person interrogating her is not the person that's going to be presenting her with photos of people. Okay. What they do is they have a third party that's not interrogating, doesn't know her, not really all involved. I mean, they can be involved in the case, but in an administrative role. And what they do is they go and get 6 photos, and they may even overlay the mask and stuff over their face, but they'll give them photos and they'll turn them upside down, and they're required to turn the photo over one by one and say if she recognizes them. And then she'll probably look and say, well, this one looks the most like the person I saw. They have just this area open when they're doing those things. It's administered by somebody other than that. They can't talk to the witness when they're doing it. They can't coerce. This is all done by video. Like they're watching this on video. There's a lot more to it than just somebody standing over you. Are you sure it's not this one? Are you sure it's not this one? They can't have that in court. They can't have that in court. I'm sorry. To the naked ear, this would sound plausible. To me, that has watched these investigations, know the policies and procedures, especially with identifying a suspect. This doesn't make sense to me. In fact, we are talking about how bogus it is now, not how credible he is. Absolutely. That is exactly what I'm doing. We are talking about how this does not make sense. And Ashley Banfield should have known better. If she would have just listened to this instead of running with a story, she would have had a lot more questions like I do about this whole entire thing. But this is where she pulls her news from. I'm pulling my news from it too, except I'm being a little more thorough and honest about the source.
And she wasn't really sure, but they kind of put those words in her mouth. It's almost like, they were insinuating it so much to where she was like, yeah, I think, yeah, no, it's definitely him. And that's when they just...
Not one time in that affidavit did we see she identified him as the person. That she identified him as the person 100%. Not one thing in that affidavit, and we have the affidavit right here. So we're going to be going over that. I may have missed something. It may be on a line item where she identified him 100% as the assailant, but I don't remember.
Just kind of like ran with it. So what you see in the affidavit is it didn't play out that way.
Because he has firsthand knowledge, not hearsay. Because he was there during this entire encounter. He has firsthand knowledge of the facts, not hearsay. Okay.
So Dylan's attorney and her, and actually all of us, are pretty upset at how they threw her under the bus in the affidavit. When's the last time you've seen a witness or like a snitch in a case, their actual names being mentioned? The fact that they didn't redact it. We all think that the feds and prosecutors threw her name in there purposely to apply more pressure.
I again call BS on that, because think about it. This is how affidavits are written. They did not put her name in the affidavit. We just know who her initials are. If we remember back when we were talking about the Dylan Round case, remember when they were talking about the affidavit for James Brenner to arrest him on the gun charges, the federal gun charges? You guys remember that? James Brenner, remember that name? He was one of the squatters that lived on the property with Dylan Rounds, or an adjacent property that Dylan was going to be purchasing. When they were doing their affidavit, what did they do with the witnesses? They put their initials in. That is the redacted version. Their initials. It removes their entire name. And they're saying because they use the same, which is a standard operating procedure, because they did the same thing to her, that somehow they're trying to, we all feel, he said, we all feel. Yeah, interesting. Let's go back. Let's listen to that. Let me go back just ever so slightly. Let's listen to that again.
They didn't redact it. We all think that the feds and prosecutors threw her name in there purposely to apply more pressure, because Dylan was really wishy-washy during the interrogation. And
that's probably why they weren't being so courteous to her, because she was so wishy-washy about the details. But you're right. They did say, we all think. We all think.
And with them, putting these words, set in stone on paper, it kind of puts a lot of pressure on her now.
Yes, it does. We get it. We get it. It puts pressure on her. We get it. It puts pressure on her as well as Bethany Funk. We get that. But at the end of the day, she heard all these things going on, so concerned, so much so that she picks up the phone call for her phone and calls every roommate in the house. Those roommates that she said were being extremely loud, and she wanted them to quiet down, according to this guy, right? According to this guy, wants them to quiet down. So you're calling all these phones. Nobody is answering the phones yet. Just a few moments before you hear all this partying type of noise. Why wouldn't you get your ass out of your room and go say, hey, guys, what's going on here? Lots of noise going on. I was trying to sleep. Is there anything I can help you with? Does anybody know about this guy in black clothing that just walked out the back door? Hello? Anybody home? And I would be so bold to say, if they were bitching at me, well, you guys woke me up. If I got to be up this late, somebody better be answering my questions.
Because everyone views her as like some star witness, the star of the case. So that's what we all believe, that she kind of is getting screwed over by, the feds and the prosecutor, because now she.
Do you really believe that she's being screwed over? They're going to have to call her as a witness. The prosecution is going to have to call her as a witness. She knows as well as they do, they are not going to be putting anything in that affidavit. Now, mind you, again, she was represented by counsel as well. Okay? Let's just be very clear here. Dylan Mortensen at this moment in time is represented by counsel. So the FBI, the police, the state police, and her attorney, her own attorney, are out to get her. Got it.
Has to testify, and she has to say kind of what words they put in her mouth instead of what she actually believed, and what she actually knows happened, like with her own words, not words that were like shoved in her mouth,
So her attorney helped her draft a affidavit with everybody else's words. That's literally the opposite of what attorneys do for their client.
So, yeah, her attorney's pretty upset. She's pretty upset. But at the same time, she knows that,
Her attorney is pretty upset. Well, there's things that attorneys for her could do, like file an immediate injunction, an emergency injunction, an emergency to show good cause. There's a lot of remedies at the disposal of her representation, and yet we have not seen one pleading filed on Dylan's behalf in this case to withdraw the statements of her client, or to modify the statements of her client, or to do a personal civil suit against the law, or against the sheriffs, the police, the state police, or the FBI for any of this. So he's saying that her attorney is really upset. Well, attorneys that are really upset typically start filing pleadings for their client on their behalf. I'm just saying. They don't just sit by and say, "Oh, well, you got screwed, nothing you can do." That's not how it works. That's funny.
she can be a huge help in this case. So it's not like she's identifying somebody she didn't see. It just didn't play out necessarily like, oh, bushy eyebrows. She saw bushy eyebrows, and was able to 100% identify him. It's just initially when, detectives and feds came in and took over the scene had been contaminated so badly by the local authorities. When they first came, first responders, they stomped all over the place, contaminated the scene. All the, other people that were at the house.
All the other people at the house, but wasn't it your girlfriend's inner circle friend, Dylan Mortensen? Isn't she the one that called all those additional people over to the house before she called law enforcement? I'm just wondering. I mean, that is the truth, right? Those are the facts.
They were, walking up and down the steps, to make sure what they're seeing is what they're really seeing. So I mean, this is a scene that was really badly contaminated. So to equal the playing field, the feds feel like, having a star witness is critical here.
Let's be honest. We're watching the Murdaugh trial. She's not going to be the star witness, okay? The star witnesses, as we have learned through the Murdaugh trial, are the detectives, the agents, the state police, the FBI. Those are going to be the star witnesses, because they're the ones that this is going to be based upon. A lot of facts are going to be derived out of his data, out of the forensic data findings that these law enforcement. She's just going to be like Miss Shelley. She's only going to be able to provide just a small tidbit of information that's going to be introduced into the trial. That's it. Where she went, what happened when she got home, what happened to make her open her door 3 times, what she saw when she had the encounter with Brian. Kay had a Bluetooth in her room. Yeah, we're going to be finding out all that. But this idea that Dylan's going to be the star of the show at this court is ludicrous. Is ludicrous. Yes, she's going to be on the stand. Yes, she's going to have to say but that's only one tiny segment of this entire case. She's not going to be the star of the show, for the love of God.
But just the way she was being interrogated initially was, it's kind of crazy. It's not what you guys think. They weren't being all sensitive and gentle to her. They were really accusatory and kind of, pressured, put the press on her.
Yes, it's called an interrogation, sir. That's what an interrogation is. Maybe me and you need to watch some interrogations, but they're not pretty and they're very stressful for anybody. This is not special to Dylan Mortensen, sir. Just FYI.
Thought that she might have something to do with it because it just didn't make sense to them why she's the only one alive. And on top of that, didn't see anything or
She isn't the only one alive, sir. There's another roommate that's downstairs. Her name is Bethany Funk. She was also left alive. Dylan's not the only one left alive here, sir.
really hear anything. She didn't want to be nosy, didn't want to, get up in her roommate's business. She told him to be quiet. The last thing that crossed her mind was people are getting slaughtered next door and upstairs.
Yeah, you know what? But somebody that's aroused out of a sound sleep at 4 o'clock in the morning that doesn't even have to open her room door once, not twice, but 3 times, and then sees some stranger walking out a sliding glass door, not even the front of the house. Yeah, especially a door that should have been locked. And not only that, why didn't she, if she just thought it was a friend, let's play devil's advocate. Okay, she thinks this is a prank. She thinks this is a friend of theirs. She thinks that they're horse playing. He's going home. Perfect. Why didn't you follow him out and make sure the back sliding glass door was locked, if that's what you thought? You guys are all girls in the house. You say you like having a secure home locked up. You just heard somebody walk out the sliding glass door. Why didn't you go out there and make sure that door was locked since he just left? And appears to be the last friend from this so-called party that you heard was leaving. I mean, since you didn't want to be in anybody's business, fine, don't be in anybody's business, but at least secure the house when you see a stranger you don't know walking out the door. Make sure he can't come back in. She was jealous of a jealous, nurtured person. I see way she looked at Kaylee in the photos. Yeah, she probably was very envious.
So, I think that's pretty much everything I've covered. So yeah, just to go over the whole, suffering trauma. She was shocked that she saw him walk past her. Like, it's not as dramatic as you guys think.
Well, in all fairness,
Like, he was already.
In all fairness, I said that from the very beginning as I got clubbed over the head by every single station about how I was saying there's no way she would have been shocked for 8 hours. And everybody, every bleeding heart on YouTube wants to come out. Oh, I've had shock before and it's awful. And I was there for hours. Well, I've had shock too. In two very specific circumstances in my life. And I know what shock is and I know how long it lasts.
Halfway towards the kitchen and walking out. And for all of y'all that are scratching your heads, yes, police do lie. They've kind of thrown everybody around the ringer.
They are allowed to lie to anybody to their face. What they're not allowed to do is lie under oath. No officer would ever want to lie under oath. Why? Because that's a great way not to be an officer anymore. And it's a great way never to be hired from another law agency again. Look at the officer in the O.J. Simpson case. I can't even remember that guy's name. The officer that planted evidence and was caught planting evidence has never been in law enforcement again.
Through this whole case from the very start. And you have to think about it. Why would a survivor, a victim, have to hire an attorney? Obviously, they were mistreating her pretty badly.
Because she was under interrogation as a suspect. That's typically why people hire attorneys in situations like this, sir.
They're interrogating her, and especially.
Well, at least we know law enforcement was interrogating people. They didn't jump right to Brian Koberger. That's one thing that I can at least state for a fact that, yes, they interrogated these people. And if she was being treated like this, think about how Jack D and Jack S and the grub truck people and the DoorDash guy and the private driver were treated. Does he think this was specific for just Dylan? This is an interrogation. This is exactly how interrogations go. They're hard. They're not pretty. They bang their fists down on tables and say, quit lying to me, right? That's what they do. That's what they do.
Now throwing her name in the affidavit like that, you know, that's all because they're pretty upset she hired an attorney to begin with. And because they want to put a lot of pressure on her from the public for her to be the star witness. But aside from that, she's doing good. She's the same old Dylan. Yeah, no, there's no trauma, PTSD, anything. You know, she really feels for, you know, her friends who are deceased. And
well, let me fill you in something, sir. Can you explain why, when Kaylee Gonzalez's family was trying to reach out to her, that even weeks and months later, they still never received a response from Dylan Mortensen? Now, I have that, right? Because I met with them. I saw the text message on Olivia's phone, Kaylee's sister, reaching out to Dylan, asking what is going on. Now, I believe that law enforcement at the time may have had her phone, but why didn't she open up lines of communication with the family immediately? As soon as she had her phone back, as soon as she was able to, if she had to get a new phone, I'm sure Olivia sent her another message, maybe not, but she could have still responded. This gentleman was obviously not apprised of that. Maybe he should be. Can he explain that?
you know, she does beat herself up a little bit about, you know, not being more involved in the situation that night. But, you know, realistically, I mean,
realistically, let's talk about realistically. Realistically, normal people, when they see a stranger in their home, pick up the phone and call 911. Realistically, whether you're in college or not, realistically, people would have went out if you thought it was nothing more than just somebody coming in or leaving the house that was a friend. Normal people will go behind them and make sure that the doors are locked. Realistically, when somebody went to lock the door and turned around and saw a body laying in the doorway, realistically would have called 911. Law enforcement is not throwing this case out the window by lying on behalf of Dylan Mortensen. In this statement from Irish Badass is saying LE protected DM. They lied to the public to protect DM. They are not allowed to lie under oath. Brett Payne was required under the law to be truthful in his reporting. And I don't see her providing a statement under oath with her own private attorney and being duped and these affidavits being all lies. She had an attorney present, guys. I want to make that clear. She had her own attorney present. There is no way in hell her attorney would have advised her to be truthful in her affidavit. Do not allege anything. If you don't know, you state you don't know. You write your affidavit to the best of your ability and try to include every tidbit of information that you can possibly write in here. She would have advised her that this is a very serious matter and it's very important that she gets it right the first time. Her attorney would have also most likely reviewed the affidavit that was written on her behalf to confirm that it is her testimony and true and correct before she had it notarized and under oath. That's what attorneys do. So it's hard for me to believe this, but he's talking as if he was in the room, as if he knows all this stuff because he had a conversation with Dylan. Dylan's conversation to him about what happened makes it hearsay. That's how hearsay works, because she's saying to him anything she wants to say to him, whether true or untrue. These allegations do not look good for her. They probably told her they would keep these allegations away from the public and as long as they could. But at some point, these things, they're required to tell the judge, the jury, and the defense what information. They can't withhold this stuff from the defense. She's got a lot of explaining to do, but that's from her own doing. And there's no excuse, because she had an attorney. None of the other kids got an attorney. Dylan Mortensen got an attorney. Do you honestly believe that attorney would have allowed her to put admissions under oath without review? Unless they're a crap attorney, I don't see that happening.
That's not going to cross your mind that something like that's taking place in your house. You know, so yes, she does feel for the family, and she's really saddened by the whole situation. But as far as her as an individual, she's still the same person. She's not like traumatized.
Oh, so she, after having 4 friends brutally slaughtered in her house, not traumatized at all. Not traumatized at all. I call that statement in and of itself made this whole entire thing even more unbelievable than it already was.
Individual, you know. So yeah, I think I pretty much covered everything. And let's see. Yeah, no, that's everything.
All right, that's everything, guys. That's everything. His firsthand knowledge of the accounts that happened inside the interrogation room that he was not inside of, but his is firsthand knowledge, not hearsay, and completely factual. And another source for Ashley Banfield that she ran with, just FYI. Yes, Ashley Banfield ran with this story as well. No corroboration, no fact checking, no vetting, nothing. Just a source close to Dylan. There's your source. So again, thank you, just Samantha, for making sure that we have that in our hot little hands. And then we got the affidavit. The affidavit. And I probably won't be able to enlarge. Nope, I can't enlarge this affidavit. I'll have to do it a different way. Hold on a second. Now that we're done with that, I can kick this and kick this. And we're going to put the actual one up so I can enlarge it. There we go. There we go. Much better. Much, much better. So let's go back. So all of the information from Dylan Mortensen. Now, they threw her under the bus. They have everybody's first and last name in here. Kernodle, Chapin, Kaylee Gonzalez, Jack DeCore. They have all of these people's names written in here. Brett Payne, his name is written out here. Sergeant Blacker or Blaker, whatever it is, his name is written out here. Thank you, Wild Cherry. God bless you. Thank you so much. We got Chapin, Ethan. We've got Kaylee Gonzalez's name in here. Jack DeCore's name in here. We got Mogan's name in here. But then when it comes to the surviving roommates, we have initials. Initials. But somehow this guy says that they intentionally put her name in here and failed to redact it. This would be a redacted version by them using initials as opposed to their full legal name. So they did redact this, but they're required to still make mention of who they are. And the best way they can do that is using initials. So let's read this stuff and let's see if we can find where Dylan Mortensen pointed the finger at Brian Kohberger and said he's the guy because she was forced by the FBI to do so. As part of the investigation, numerous interviews were conducted by Moscow Police Department, State Idaho State Police detectives, and FBI agent. 2 of the interviews included BF and DM, Bethany Funk and Dylan Mortensen. Both BF and DM were inside the King Road residence at the time of the homicide. What does this man expect them to say in addition or without having their initials to the court? This is a legal document that is a public record. Does he think that she is entitled to have her name redacted as a witness? And if so, why isn't every single other witness across this country being redacted out of these reports? Because they can't. Yeah, we'll open the phone lines here, Project. Give me just a few moments. So they were in the resident at the time, based on numerous interviews conducted by Mascow Police Department officers, Idaho State Police detectives, and the FBI agents, as well as my interview of evidence. I learned the following. On the evening of November 12th, Chapin and Kernodle are seen by BF at the Sigma Chi house at the on the University of Idaho campus at 735 Nez Pierce Drive from approximately 9 p.m. to on the 12th to 1:45 on the 13th. BF also estimated that approximately 1:45, Chapin and Kernodle returned to the King Road residence. BF also stated that Chapin did not live at the King Road residence. So they do have statements from Bethany Funk. So they interrogated her as well. Gonzalez and Mogan were at a local bar, Corner Club, and seen from 10 p.m. to 1:30 a.m. on 10 p.m. on the 12th to 1:30 a.m. on the 13th. At approximately 1:30, Gonzalez and Mogan are seen at a food truck vendor called the Grub Truck. The Grub Truck live stream of their food from their food truck was streamed on a platform called Twitch, which is available for public viewing on their website. They also captured law enforcement. A private party reported that he provided a ride to Gonzalez and Mogan at approximately 1:56 from downtown Mascow in front of the Grub Truck to the King Road residence. DM and BF both made statements during the interview that indicated the occupants of the King Road residence were at home by 2 a.m. and sleeping in their room or in their room at least by 4 a.m. with the exception of Kernodle, who received a DoorDash order around 4 a.m. DM also stated she originally went to sleep in her room on the south side of the second floor. DM stated she was awoken at approximately 4 a.m., but what she stated sounded like Gonzalez playing with her dog in one of the upstairs bedrooms, not the party that is being explained in that gentleman's video, which were located on the third floor. Short time later, DM heard what she thought Gonclave saying, "There's someone here." A review of records obtained from the forensic download of Kernodle's phone showed this could have been Kernodle, as her cellular phone indicates she was likely using the TikTok app at approximately 4:12. So they're saying that what she heard, somebody's here. A review of the records from the forensic download of Kernodle's phone showed this could have been Kernodle, as her cell phone indicates she was likely awake and using the TikTok app at 4:12. So her stating somebody is here might have been 4:12. DM stated she looked out of her bedroom door but did not see anything when she heard the comment about someone being in the house. DM stated she opened her door a second time when she heard what she thought was crying coming from Kernodle's room. DM then states she heard a male's voice say something to the effect of, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." At approximately 4:17 a.m., a security camera located at 112 King Road residence immediately northwest of the 112 King Road picked up a distorted audio of what sounded like voices or whimpering, followed by a loud thud. A dog can be heard barking numerous times starting at 4:17. So there's all this chaos going in this house. The loud thud, the whimpering that was picked up by an adjacent property, and the dog barking. So let's put this in context to what we just heard from that gentleman that's saying that he's a friend of The inner circle, not that his girlfriend was her friend, just that his girlfriend is the inner circle of the inner circle. Who says that? DM opened her door a third time after she heard the crying, which was caught on. So this is all corroborated by that video camera that is adjacent 50 feet from Kernodle's bedroom. She opened the door a third time when she heard crying and saw a man. So she hears crying. Somebody's crying. And a man is walking out of the back door. But she's not terrified. She thinks it's just a friend of theirs. If you heard your friend crying and saw a weird figure walking out your back door, your first inclination is to go back in your room and go to bed. That's your first inclination. I understand that. That's only one part of this. That's only one time she opened the door. But then all these things happened after that. All these things I'm reading happened after her thinking that she was playing. And not only that, again, it comes back. If she really only thought this was a friend of a friend, they live in a secure house. All the girls lock the door. That's what we've been hearing from all their families. They love to have the house locked up. So you just watched a man that you thought was a friend walk out the back door. My first inclination would be to go lock the back door. Right? It's 4 o'clock in the morning. Nobody should be in the house. You're upset that they're having noises. So if we took that statement as true, it still doesn't explain her behavior. Still doesn't. I agree she didn't think they were being murdered, but she knew something was going on. She knew something and deep in her stomach was not right. And she did nothing. Nothing. DM stated she opened the door a third time after she heard crying and saw a figure clad in black clothing and a mask that covered the person's mouth and nose walking toward her, described as 5'10" or taller, male, not very muscular, but athletically built with bushy eyebrows. The man walked past DM as she stood in a frozen shock phase. I do believe she was in a frozen shock phase. The man walked toward the sliding glass door. DM locked herself in her room after seeing the male. She didn't go lock the sliding glass door because she just thought it was a friend. She wanted to make sure that friend couldn't get back in, right? It's 4 o'clock in the morning. She's tired of the noise. I would be out there making sure that everybody was out of the house and lock the house up so nobody can sneak back in to party. That's what I would have done. It's what many of you guys would have done. We can't keep giving these people excuses for their behavior. We just can't. I'm sorry. If you're wanting somebody with a bleeding heart that's not talking about facts, this probably ain't the channel for you. I treat everybody the exact same way, no matter what it is. You do wrong, you have things that aren't. She's trying to say all of this in this affidavit from law enforcement is all not true. That they just put words in her mouth. That she did not do any of this, according, at least allegedly, from one of her inner circle friends. Right? So it says, after seeing the man, DM did not state that she recognized, it says, DM did not state that she recognized the man. So that guy's whole entire video that we just watched about how they were trying to force her and say, yes, that's Brian Kohberger. They state in this affidavit, DM did not state that she recognized the man. This leads investigators to believe that the murderer left the scene. A combination of DM's statement to law enforcement, review of forensic downloads, a combination. So let's listen to how they came across as a combination of DM's statements to law enforcement, a review of forensic downloads of record from both Bethany Funk and Dylan Mortensen's phone, and a video, a suspect video as described below leads investigators to believe the homicides occurred between 4 a.m. and 4:25. During the processing of the crime scene, investigators found latent shoe prints. Now we go into this. Let me see if I can find anything else with Dylan Mortensen's statements. So I'm very curious what this man thinks that she said in here. DM, here's another one with it says the same day at approximately 11 or 12:58 a.m. officers looked for the white. That's when they found the white Hyundai Elantra. Additionally, the photograph of Koberger showed that he had bushy eyebrows. Koberger's physical description is consistent with the description of the male DM saw inside of the King Road residence on November 13th. Physical description. It never even once said here, not one time did it say here that Dylan picked him out of a lineup. That's not alleged here. So, you know, and I'm going to see if there's any more where DM made statements throughout this. So far, I haven't seen anything. It's just going into the forensic data of the movements and things of that nature. So everything that gentleman went on a tirade on is not even in this affidavit. It's not even in, and the stuff that he did say actually mimicked the affidavit. But he put his own twist on it as to why it can't be relevant. All right, guys. So I know you guys have been listening to me talk for quite some time. My throat's hurting because I'm talking so much. So I'm going to open up the phone lines. I know that I want everybody to, there's no right or wrong answers here. I want everybody to respect everybody's opinion of the facts. I don't want there to be a lot of heated arguments. There's no point in that. We're just having a discussion and debating these issues related to Dylan Mortensen. I know some people are a little not as harsh on people as me, but I'm very clinical in nature when I'm looking at these cases, and I pull my emotions out of it. When I'm looking at these cases, you know, do I feel bad for Dylan? Of course I do. You know, who wouldn't feel bad for the position that she's been put in? Okay. But in the grand scheme of things, you know, feeling bad for somebody, it's not something that I can apply to cases. You know, I can't apply emotion to cases. Do I get emotional with cases and it makes me work 10 times harder? Yes. But when I'm explaining cases and talking about people, talking about witnesses, talking about suspects, I remove my emotion out of it. I remove my emotion out of it. This is the reason why I always stay at arm's length away from, like, even parents that could be perceived as the perpetrator in the crime against their child or otherwise. I do that because I don't want to be friends with people. You know, I've got to be able to have that disconnect, so I don't have an emotional relationship of any kind, and it's more clinical in nature. And that's the way I have to do these things. It's the way I work when getting these cases, when I'm looking at these cases. So if you guys are expecting me to be emotional with this stuff and stuff with Dylan, I can't be. Not that I don't feel bad, not me personally. You know, I'm sorry she's been put in this position. But at the end of the day, these are the facts of the case, and I can't deviate from those facts because somebody has feelings that can get hurt. You see what I'm saying? So I hope you guys understand my position. I definitely understand yours, but there's no right or wrong answers here. We're just going to open up the lines so that everybody that would like to give their perspective has the ability to give their perspective. I know there are a few that want to call in. Give me just a second. I'm trying to pull it up. I got to make sure I pull it up before people call so we don't accidentally dox their number. I tried very hard not to do that. Okay. All right, here we go. All right, let me turn the phones on. The phones are officially on. Let me just throw the number up so you guys can see it and call in. We have a new number for our channel. And the phones are now open. We have almost 737 people in the chat. If you guys have not already, provide me a like on this video. And also, when you put the like in, let me know what number you are calling from. This is Betty.
Betty.
Hello, Map.
Mab.
So what do you think about
You and
today's
I-
topic?
I think you and I think very much alike. One thing I disagree with you about is that BK could not have come back at 9 a.m. because Dylan had called friends as of 8 a.m. There's other kids. Yeah, there's other kids in the house.
Wait a minute. Whoa, what? Wait a minute. So she started calling kids over at 8 a.m. and it took
Yes.
4 hours to call?
Yes, yes. So not only was this crime scene trampled by, according to this guy as well, all the friends that she called running up in there.
For
But
4
the first
hours
responders
before
were killed.
calling law enforcement for the murders?
Yeah, the defense is going to have a field day with this. She's going to be the star witness, but it's not going to be for the prosecution.
Wow. Yeah. Well, even watching
prosecution,
Alex Murdaugh, there's no real star to a case. There's not.
No, she's
Yeah.
going to be 1/500th of what goes on in this case.
Yeah.
Star witness, my ass.
Where did you hear that she just because people are saying this is my first time hearing that she called people over at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Oh,
Where
yeah.
did this information come from, if I may?
Okay, so they had their circle of friends from
Mhm.
the sorority, and one of the friends' mother, she told her mother that she knew that the murders had happened at 8 a.m.
Ooh.
and that friends have been being called over there.
Interesting.
Coming from them. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd
So-
like to. I need to hear
For
that.
4 solid hours, they screwed around crime scene and getting rid of drugs, whatever the hell they were doing.
hmm
And the defense, I mean, if I'm the defense, I'm just going to have a field day with DM. And
Yeah, but that's
Yeah,
if that
yeah.
statement is true. You know, I want to put that on there because a friend of a friend that heard it doesn't necessarily make it true. So
yeah,
we want to
right.
preface that.
This is hearsay.
Yeah. So what do you
Objection,
think about,
hearsay, sustained.
go ahead. What do you think about the video?
Which one?
The one we just played, the one from her.
Oh, that guy's full of shit.
That's what I thought too.
Inner
Circle. That was convincing
about
language.
hearsay.
That was like, you know, it's inner circle. He never even referenced her as a friend or family. Just,
I know.
I've never heard anybody talk like that.
I haven't either. But these chicks do have clicks, but inner circle. I mean, how many circles have you got?
Right. Right.
Another way, let's say, yeah, and he talks about her being the only one alive,
Yeah.
totally forgetting about Bethany.
Yeah, and then he said something to the effect of, you know, my girlfriend was with her since this happened. And it's like, and then like you listen to it a few more minutes and he's talking about how she was in and out of law enforcement for days preceding these deaths. And it's like, well, when did she have time to hang out with your friend? Where's your friend? In Boise, where she's at? Because she's been in Boise for quite some time. And if your girlfriend's hanging out with her, clearly she wasn't at school.
Yeah.
Just didn't make sense.
Another thing I wanted to talk about was the lineup, the photo lineup. Some lady just sideswiped me about 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
I was going at a 25 in my little town of Aromas. I hit the light just before she did. I made a right. She got right on my ass. And then she tried to pass me, but at the same time, I was trying to gain distance from her.
Mm-hmm.
So she tried to pass me and then started coming into my lane and hit my mirror.
Wow.
And so I followed her and got her license plate number and drove beside her trying to get her to pull over. And so she had a hoodie on and sunglasses. So the CHP came here and they did a lineup. And they do not show you all the pictures at the same time. They do not make any statements about the pictures.
Yeah.
They show you the one at a time.
Yep.
And you have to sign and date to the minute each picture and your comments on each picture. And then you have to do a conclusion and say, I think picture number 4 was 80% looked like person.
Yeah, they made that.
I could totally tell he wasn't the person, but she was a Hispanic young girl, and there's like probably 3 of them in there, and I think I probably picked the right person, but I don't know until they come back to me. But yeah, they don't coerce lineups.
No, and it's a very streamlined process too. And the person that was talking to you may or may not, but typically in higher cases, they won't.
I was on video with the CHP. He said, "Come out to my front of my car so we can have this on my dash cam."
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
When you're in an interrogation and there's and it's related to a murder, they even do a step further. They won't even allow the law enforcement that's interviewing you, they won't even allow them to show you a lineup. They make a third party, somebody that you haven't seen, come in the room and show you a lineup.
The third party is the one that did it.
Yeah.
Because the guy that took my report, it wasn't the guy who came back. It's a different CHP guy.
Yep. That's how it's done.
He showed me the lineup.
Yep. So
yeah, exactly how it goes. And one thing I should talk about that. JLR. This Don Williams.
Mm-hmm.
JLR is the one that called CPS on Don Williams. You know that?
Don Williams. Who's Don Williams? You mean Don Wells?
Or Don Wells.
Yeah.
JLR is the one that called CPS on Don Wells.
Yeah, for his him going on YouTube. So I saw the post from
saying the N-word or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, how does he know what's going on from Florida, whatever he lives?
Jonathan is Jonathan. I don't even. If I could.
He does a lot of good stuff, but some of it's a little shady.
No, he does great work. I mean, some of the stuff he questions, and some of the stuff he puts in as questions if he doesn't really know whether it's legit or not.
What do you think?
Yeah,
your comments below.
Yep, but for the most part, I mean, if I could literally take his brain out of his head and put it in my head, I would be accused of stealing brains, because I'm telling you, I want his brain inside my head. He's a very smart, smart guy, and I'm telling you, whenever I'm stumped on something, I would call him. I mean, literally, he would be. If I want information, he's one of the best online.
Yeah, at least he's honest. I mean, he said, I called CPS and I'm going to do everything humanly possible to make sure he doesn't get the boys back.
Absolutely. And I commend JLR for being so.
When I talked to him on Dolly, or I didn't talk to him, when Dolly talked to him last, he had him calm down after he went on that other channel.
Yeah.
And we were cussing back and forth. The other guy didn't know how to handle him. Of course, Dolly knew how to handle him because he met him before, and he got Don to calm down. And we talked to him, and apparently the only thing wrong with the inside of the house was there was a few pipes that were exposed because he was doing some remodel or something.
Well, there was a lot more exposed when those kids were living there. Electrical wires.
What was going on there?
The house is a dump.
Electrical wires.
Yeah. That's like a no-no. I mean, they were hanging down where the kids going down the stairs where the kids could literally pull on them. And I'm thinking, that is a hazard.
Yeah, he should have had, wire nuts on those and wired up to the drywall up above.
Yeah. Well, these wires are exposed wires. Those wires are supposed to be inside the walls, not on the outside of the walls. And if they are on the outside of the walls, they need to be things like swag kits and stuff like that. But your main electrical running into the house, I mean, you're fixing.
I used to be in construction before I got in electrical property. So, like today, I was all day working on my other property, my mountain lion sanctuary. Oh, I sent you the video, by the way.
Oh, nice. I haven't even looked over my my emails yet. Oh, I gotta sneeze. My allergies are killing me today, and I even changed out my.
Watch it later, whatever.
Yeah. Oh, excuse me.
It's pretty impressive. The mama mountain lion and her 3 cubs walking right down my driveway.
Yeah. Oh, that's sea lions. Hold on. Let me look at it. Let me look at it. I might pull it up and let people see it. Oh.
737 people in the chat. If you guys have not already.
Let me turn you down here. Hold on.
Yeah, I must have been on the video. Wow. Okay, that was whoo. That was.
Yeah.
I'll have to show
No
you.
collar either. I don't see a collar on her. I contacted the Northern California Wildlife Puma Project,
Uh-huh.
and they said they had tagged a mama and her 3 cubs last year. Those cubs aren't a
Those
year old.
those cubs would have not. Yeah, last year those cubs would be much bigger this
No.
year.
Yeah, especially the last one, the one.
Yeah. So.
I've found 2 deer kills on my property since,
Ooh.
well,
We're
3 deer
getting
kills
food.
on my property since the summer.
Yeah.
I have tons of deer up there, so there's plenty for that mountain lion to eat.
Right. Wow.
But when those kittens start getting bigger, you're gonna have to watch out for your dogs and
Yeah,
cats.
your household and your domestic animals. That's the way it is here with gators. We gotta, when you're in an area that has gators, you gotta, especially they're building in here in Florida, they're just building property anywhere they can put, subdivisions. Right. And if that's near a lake or a wilderness area, they will. So, people are having panthers and gators running through their yard and bears, swimming in their stuff. And it's like, well,
And oftentimes, the golf courses will have water, and they'll have water around the high-end gated communities. They'll have water so people can do bass fishing and stuff, and that's where you get gators.
Yeah. So, all right, Ab. I'm having an allergy.
I had to go back to bed so I can get up and watch the Super Bowl.
When's the Super Bowl today?
3:30.
I have been so out of it with the football. Who's playing? I don't even know who's playing.
It's Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles.
Oh, Philadelphia Eagles.
I don't like
that's my best friend. He's deceased now. He was a Philadelphia Eagles fanatic.
Mm-hmm. The guy who just put my roof on was a 49ers Super Bowl kicker.
Mm-hmm.
Sam Kennedy.
Wow.
He invented the fishing lure, which is where I met him through the intellectual property business.
Oh, nice. Nice. I need to.
He has a plane. He let me fly over my own house in his airplane and stuff.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, nice. Nice. All right, Matt. Well, let me go. We're at the top of 2 hours. I'm gonna see if I can get another call in, and then we'll see. All right. Have a great day.
You don't have the Murdoch. You don't have the Murdoch trial today, right? It's back on Monday.
Well, it's supposed to be Monday, but we're not even going to be doing it from here Monday because I'm going to be in West Palm Beach doing a shoot out there.
Yeah, business. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, keep doing what you're doing. You're doing a good job, girl.
All right, Matt. Take care.
All right, bye.
Bye. Sorry, guys. You're going to have to give me a second. I'm so sorry. These allergies are just killing me today. I feel better, but I guess stuff is still coming out. I don't know, but I feel better. Like yesterday, I woke up, my throat wasn't sore. I just had no voice. And today I got my voice back, but I'm still it's all allergy related. I know it's all allergy related because it's all I ever get sick with is allergies. I never get sick. When I get sick, it means I'm really sick. Like I never get sick. So I haven't had a head cold or a flu in literally years. When I usually don't feel good, it's usually I'm just exhausted. Never that I'm sick. DM is the only one with the least info. Don't necessarily, if you're talking about in the house, I absolutely disagree with that. I don't believe, Cody, that she's a star witness, nor do I believe she's a man. There's been, I can corroborate at this point that she is not a man that converted to a female. I can tell you guys that. And how do you know that? Very simple. I'm not going to share, divulge what I have, but she was definitely born a female. I'll leave it at that. And I think, Sean is correct. And even if she was, who cares? I mean, this is 2023. Who cares? One of the people that I work very closely with in Heels on the Ground is Mallory D. Williams, which is a trans female. So, I mean, we are living in in 2023. Who cares? What people do behind their closed doors doesn't affect me, doesn't affect you. Who cares? All right. Oh, I forgot to turn the phones back on. I'm turning the phones back on. We'll have one more caller, maybe two if we have time, and then we're just going to go on about our day. I still have a long drive ahead of me. I'm going to Palm Beach. This is Betty.
Hey, Betty, this is Kathy O.
Hey, Kathy O, you're going to have to turn me down in your background. Nice to see you, Kathy. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. It's so nice to speak with you.
Yes.
Betty, I just wanted to run something across you.
Mm-hmm.
With this young lady, there's something inside me telling me that she was under the influence of some type of drug. Yeah. And for her not to call 911 for that many hours, I think she was paranoid, freaked out, thinking, did she really see it? And if she did, if she calls the cops, is that going to put her in jeopardy with the school? So, because it makes no sense to me why she would not call 911 when she saw a man in a mask in the middle of the night in her home.
Exactly.
It makes no sense to me.
It doesn't make sense to me either, but I came up, I think that that would go in line with some, at least explaining why that happened. I agree with you that I don't know what her habits are, but that's one of the first things I thought as well.
And that's it. And then for her to call her friends over first, I'm thinking they're clearing out the house, cleaning it up before the police get there. We were all young at one time. We all did our own stuff. You know what I'm saying? And that's the only thing that makes sense to me, is that for her to call her friends over before calling 911 was to clean up not the crime scene itself, but the drugs.
Probably just out of the rooms,
that's my
out
opinion.
of the house, out of the living room, out of the kitchen.
Exactly. It's mind-boggling, because if it was my child that was murdered in that home, and to know there was someone in that house that heard and even saw a masked man and didn't react in some way, is really unsettling. It actually upsets me, because human to human, you know what? We need to take care of each other. We just don't let something like that just fly by.
Yeah.
There was something not right, something, And like I said, it's in my opinion. So, and yay, you're going to be in Palm Beach. I live in Palm Beach. Reach out.
Yeah, I will be there for a couple of days. We'll be doing a live from the hotel room. Not Monday, maybe Monday evening or afternoon. It might be evening, depends on when I finish up with all the people. But I will be there until I don't want to give my dates away, but I'm going to be there a few days.
Yeah, don't do that. We don't need to have any crazies.
Oh, you don't want to come around. Well, they will probably be much more outnumbered than they're used to.
Okay. You know what? I'll reach out to you. I'll give you my phone number. If you have the time, let's do lunch, have a couple of drinks, because I really would like to meet you. You know what? I watch you every day.
I will be there. I'll be there for a couple days, and I definitely think I will be able to sneak out at least Tuesday for lunch.
Okay. Sounds good. Okay. So I'll put that on. I'm so busy at 69, I'll have to put that on my calendar.
Hey, listen, I never thought I would ever be this busy in my life, but I'm talking with Sonia at 3:00 in the morning this morning. I mean, it's go life, my family's like, well, make sure you're taking care of your health. And it's like, listen, I'll take care of my health when my health needs taken care of. Right now, I'm doing fine. I just got to keep chugging through. I don't like, I'm one of those people, idle hands are bad. You got to have busy hands. And that's just the way I've been raised. It's the way I work. It's what keeps me going.
You know what? And thank God we have people like you that are out there fighting for the voiceless, because it just seems like it's just being pushed under the carpet. It just amazes me. I moved from California to Florida, and to see just the human trafficking that I see on TV here is just so alarming, because you don't see that. Oh, California, they hide everything.
Yeah, well, and I've been pushing for our politicians to get better numbers on it, because what I've personally seen and what our numbers are, they're off. They're way off.
Oh, it's what I told my son, because now my granddaughters are up north. They're in I forget what area. And they're young, but it scares me to hear of all these, these young ladies and young boys too, just disappearing. And it's like it's nothing. We're in California. They'd have it on the freeways. They have these signs that say, look out for this car, whatever the description is. But here I'm not going to say Florida. I just don't know if there's a corridor on this East Coast where people are just being taken, and there's so many that it's just overwhelming for the police department.
I can tell you that I saw some photos of things that I should not have been able to see, but I did see them in trying to find the truth about this all this human trafficking and what's going on. And some of these were across this country where they found kids alive, thank God. But they're strapped up in back of cars. They're older. They're not, I didn't see any younger kids or anything like that. But obviously this is happening to even our teenage kids, and a lot of us, we dismiss these teenage missing kids as runaways, but not all of them. Maybe they did run away. Maybe but it doesn't mean they didn't, they weren't met with harm. I mean, these kids are easier to pick off because you can just say, hey, just come here. I'll take care of you,
And Betty, I agree with you because you know what? These kids coming out of foster care, their clothes are put in a plastic trash bag and they're just sent out onto the streets.
Yeah.
And they're open to anybody that shows kindness to them. And that's another thing, the system. I totally agree with you getting a database where we plug in these social security numbers. But we also need to do with these kids that are being taken out of foster care at 18 and, they're out of the system and thrown onto the streets, because this is where we're seeing these young prostitutes. We're seeing them being used and abused. I mean, it's, you know what? The system has to change.
Yeah.
It truly does. And I'm behind you 100%.
You know what? And there's this factor that I didn't put into the theory of this, centralized database, and that's tracking the kids after they're out of the system. Because at the end of the day, we need to know if the system is working for our kids. If all it's doing is producing, criminals that are on the streets robbing and stealing, then obviously it's not working, and we need to find a different solution. So that's something. Thank you for that.
Yeah, you know what? If we could throw them in there, throw them in, God forgive me. But you know what? We could add them to not just the children, but, they're still young people they're not experienced with this weird ass world that we're living in.
Yeah.
And it just breaks my heart to see this happening, and no one's recognizing the foster care kids. Once they hit a certain age, they're put out on the streets, which is absolutely horrible.
And it's not only that, but they need to, like, even prisoners, when they're out of prison, they have to go to a halfway house and get acclimated to the world without, that, jail lifestyle. They don't just usually go right out into the world. They usually have to stay in halfway houses to adjust. To make sure,
and they track them
doing stuff.
They make sure the ones that don't comply, but I'm going to say some, not all, but they will report and say this is where they're living, whatever. But it's true, the criminals. Oh my God, I can't even go there. The criminals, their rights are just upheld to the highest point, and the victims are victimized in the courts, a second time. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
But I won't hold you up because I know you're a busy lady, and these allergies, yes, I agree.
You're killing me. I'm so over it at this point. Like, it didn't get, but I got to tell you, I haven't had an allergy attack like I did over at, in Pennsylvania, over at Molly Golightly's house. When we were out, by the time we got back, my eyes were like literally burning. I could barely, I was just gunky. And I still think some of that is still what I'm dealing with right now. But
well, Betty, I was born and raised in Philadelphia, and the minute I hit 18, I flew out of that country, out of that state, because it was just between the allergies and just the city itself, the crime rate that was just really high. But yeah, I can understand why you would want to leave Pennsylvania.
Yeah, that was bad. So anyway, thank you. We'll see. I'll see you sometime in the next few days.
Absolutely. Yeah, I really look forward to it. You take care.
Yes. Talk to you soon.
And as Dolly would say, peace out.
Peace out. Peace.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So I'm going to open the phone lines back up. I'd really like Samantha to call in. If you guys can reserve calling right now so that just Samantha can call in. Samantha, I just turned the phone lines back on for you to call in if you'd like to call in. The number right there. There we go. As my phone is going crazy. Just Samantha. Is you. Is this Samantha?
Hello?
Samantha?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I was gonna let the person, if it wasn't you, I was gonna let them know I'm waiting for a call.
So I think you kept missing the joke I had in the chat.
I did.
My sources have told me that Papa Rogers is really Ashley Banfield.
That's funny. That's funny. That's funny.
So I was, yeah, I was wondering if you were going to show the screenshot that I sent you, because it seems that Ashley Banfield doubled down and had Jennifer Coffindoffer on. I sent you like the screenshot as well, as where they showed it on News Nation, saying that was her source. But as you see, I sent you the same exact thing. So I was wondering if you were going to show that so people can see. Just black out the person's name.
Yeah, I forgot about them, but I can't show them while I have the phone because the system only lets me show one freaking screen at a time, which is driving me absolutely insane. Actually,
yeah, so that's the third thing she's been busted on that I've found the information. So when you went to that Reddit page, you've seen everything I've seen.
Yeah. Yeah, so they're getting their news from Reddit. I mean, and it's sad because Jennifer Coffindoffer is now getting involved in this. And it's like, we need to, if they're going to bring things that's not confirmed or hasn't been corroborated, they need to let their audience know. This source close to the investigation or source close to the family, it's only a source if you can prove that it is a legit claim. It's not a source. You can't have people 5 times removed being your source when they have no information and they're just speculating. You need to let your audience know that. But when you're coming there as news and you're giving them these pieces, they should know whether it has been corroborated or not.
I agree. That was why I was saying on, what was it? On Tuesday, we were discussing this, that the whole thing is perception when Banfield says that people will believe it, but you showed that video and everyone's going crazy in chat. Why are we listening to this guy? That's the whole point.
Yeah. The reason why we're listening to that guy is because that's where Ashley Banfield got her freaking information that she reported to everybody on her news segment. That's why.
And as you've seen, every single channel after I sent you that, it first appeared at 2 p.m. and it was the whole lineup for the rest of the Idaho case on many of the channels is this Banfield source. Mm-hmm. So I'm glad it got the traction it did, but you were the first one to pull it out.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it. And then I see JLR, I see one of his posts and he's like, I kind of like Ashley Banfield. And I'm thinking, dude.
Well, he shared the TikTok and saying that that's where she got the information from.
He's still legit. I mean, even if he likes somebody, he'll still smack them and say, "Oh, I like them, but this ain't making sense."
If you look at a lot of like the New York Times and these other news articles that are popping up, and they're all crediting their sources as News Nation. Like, I don't understand this trickle down effect and how they're not opening their eyes and even being worried about their own credibility. What is happening right now?
Because they need something, because, even though people believe that I'm in it for the clicks and views, I'm not. Who is in it for the clicks and views? These mainstream media, because that's how they make their money, is how many people. That's why they don't spend a whole lot of time on a lot of cases unless they grab the attention of their audience. And then they'll spend a little more time on it, but they're always talking. They don't like, for example, when they sat down with the Gonzalez, they wanted them to speculate. They wanted them to tell them information they did not know. I've been watching this stuff. I knew that they were getting the information from the same places we were getting our information from. So instead of that, we chose to go a different direction and talk to them about the victims. learn about the victims, humanizing the victims, because, to be honest with you, there was a lot of people out here saying these girls are part of the Mean Girls Club, and that couldn't have been further from the truth.
Right. Yeah, this case is it's getting out of control. I mean, I think I learned a lot from Summer Wells and what can happen. It's just I don't know.
Summer Wells was a good place to start, showing you how social media can really throw sticks in the fire when there's no need for it. They were sitting there bringing up thousands of different suspects because nobody wanted to point on the hate channels, not our channel. Nobody wanted to point the finger at the people responsible for this whole entire situation. They wanted to try to make excuses for them. You don't get excuses over here on the Bullhorn Betty channel.
Right. And as far as JLR calling CPS, I'm glad you took credit for it. But as soon as Don stepped back onto YouTube, he violated the gag order by talking about the boys. He's not allowed to talk about the boys.
Yeah, I heard him.
And every single channel, when he was in jail, every single channel bashed him, talked all that shit, changed their tune. And now that he's out of jail and reappearing, they're all kissing his ass because they want him on their channel for the views.
And when he comes on my channel, it's going to be above board, it's going to be lawful, and it's going to be earth shattering. I guarantee that, because at least I didn't have to swallow my integrity or who I am as a person to get that interview. I come authentically and I leave authentically.
Right. Well, I'm glad that you got the info, and like I said, you were able to put it out there, and like I said, more channels then went on and shared it. So hopefully this opens up people's eyes what's going on with News Nation.
Yeah.
But other than that, I have to go because I have to start my day
on making sure that everybody is apprised of the truth.
Yeah, show that screenshot. Just redact the person's name. That was what she said. I took out your name so nobody could see it.
Yeah,
but it's there for the whole public media. Like, I can't have the same source as an ex-FBI agent. I'm just a regular old person.
Right.
So.
Well, I can
okay,
show this one.
Enjoy your day.
These are posts. The ones I've got here. Let me make sure. So far, these are just posts in. I don't really have to redact anything because these are actual posts. They don't have anybody's name except the posts in these groups.
Okay, yeah, that's where, like I said, that's where it came from. I couldn't believe it. That's what she showed.
Gotcha.
The graded paper, and it's right there on Reddit for everybody to see.
Gotcha. Perfect.
It's crazy.
All right.
It's crazy.
I appreciate it.
Okay, enjoy your day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So, yeah, let me turn the phone off. We're gonna go over here. Let me turn this off. Stop screen share. Let me make sure I don't have any photos that have anybody's name on it. So far, I think I can share all these. I don't see anybody's name on these screenshots as to who is. No, there's none. All right, so I'm just going to show you these screenshots. This is what Samantha is referring to, and we're just going to go over them a little bit because, again, these are shots that are being used as facts when they are not. So this is allegedly a show. Let me see if I can pull this up. It's not going to let me make it bigger. It says students are showing screenshots that Brian Koberger was their TA. If you look at the dates of these two, they are from after the murders. And so this is what they're showing. Now, there is still, again, no corroboration as to whether these kids were even in the school, even doesn't really show their names at all. So how are they able to confirm that these are even accurate, true, or correct? Let me see if I can do it a different way. Hold on, guys. Let me see. I want to make sure you guys can see these. These are important. Let me just download them and then we'll pull them up. So you guys can really see them. And two of them are the same shot. It's just that, and not only that, but one of them is dated after he had already left. Seriously. Like, I question this because nobody is giving me context in which I can derive. Hold on. Did I get this one? Okay, I must have. Okay. Give me just a second. Let me go up here and pull these off. Looks like like some of the shingles up there are still loose. They never took them off, and apparently they are just up there going whoop whoop. Must have a lot of wind, and they're just smacking on the roof. Okay. Open with default. All right, here we go. We'll pull this up. We're almost there, and then we'll stop, present. I hate doing all this. This is just a pain in the ass. It really is. Will it show it this way? I don't think it'll show it this way. Let me see if I can. It's not letting me. All right, guys, I'm still trying to learn all these new things that they're making us do now on StreamYard. I just need somebody wants to take the reins and try to find me a new broadcasting thing. I'd appreciate it, because I'm kind of over this. I just don't have time to look for something new. I usually, once something works, I usually am very loyal to that. So here we go. Still not doing it. Still not. There we go. Okay, here we go. So let me go here. So here is. Dad, burn it. It's not letting me blow it up, and it's very dark. It's not letting me do it, but I guess, oh, there it goes. Here it goes. There it goes. Now we got it. All right. So what this is just showing you is that they are literally using, I know it's dark and I apologize, but they are literally using stuff that they are cutting off Reddit. And that is what's driving their news on News Nation. These things that are not vetted, these things that have not been fact checked, nothing. They're doing zero fact checking over at News Nation, none. And to bring Jennifer Coffendorfer in it's just a little disheartening for me, because she's also talking about these things that have not been corroborated as true or fact find. Or who was this? Did they talk to the person that put this screenshot up? And if so, why not state that? That's not what we're hearing. What we're seeing is that they are pulling stuff off random people's Reddit posts and taking it as true and running it on News Nation. That's what they're doing. They've been doing this for a very long time, long before social media was here. And that's probably why it's so comfortable for them to do it. However, there is social media here, and we have a lot of people that are doing fact-finding work on this, and you can see this. But this says right here, December 16th at 7:20 p.m. We know damn good and well he was driving. At what point did he pull over to grade a paper? You know, and it like this is right here. It comes up like when I do that, it looks like it was placed there potentially after the fact, because out of all this stuff, it's the only one that gets a box around it whenever I go up to it, as if it was added after the fact. I'm not even getting that next to Brian Koberger's name, just the date, which is weird for me. Students are showing screenshots that Brian Koberger was their TA. If you look at the dates of these two, they are from after the murders. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to go as far as to say while he was driving to Pennsylvania. While he was driving to Pennsylvania. And again, the only thing that gets the box around it is the date. Nothing else here gets a box around it unless I cover over the date. And the date is, you look at it, I don't know if it's straight. It looks like it goes up up at an angle. Even inside the box, it goes up. The box itself is angled. You see that? It's not straight. I don't know. I don't trust this kind of information. I really don't. And this is from the University of Idaho. This is grading stuff. And it says after 4 a.m. And again, the only thing that shows up on here that puts a box around it. Let me blow this up. Oops. So the only thing that ever, like, I could put it all over this entire piece, all over, but when I go here, it puts a box around it. Create event, create a reminder, show date. I don't know if that's something with, I don't know. That's the only thing that puts a box around it. Maybe it's a map, but it's not even a straight box. So that means whatever's in here is not even, I don't know. I just don't trust anything I get off of Reddit without doing the necessary work to fact find it and make sure that it's actual information. But yes, this is where Banfield is now getting her information to run as true on her News Nation segments. She got one from a TikTok, a no-name TikToker that fabricated a document. Now she's got one going on about this this termination letter that Brian Koberger received from Wazoo. However, Wazoo said, first of all, we would have never provided that to anybody. We've never talked to anybody about his current status. And we definitely would never have shared a letter sent to him. Cody, first of all, you're coming into my chat. Let me just address this real quick. First of all, you're coming into my chat. This is my house, not yours. Let me get that clear real quick. Secondly, you have incited several people in my chat. So let me take this away from Sean and let me address you very, very quickly. Now, I don't know what you are in here for. If you're in here to learn some information about these cases, you're more than welcome to stay. There are several rules in my chat. One is to be an adult, okay? To be an adult. The other is not to be disrespectful to the people in my chat, me or other creators that are here. Those are rules that have zero tolerance. That means you'll get booted and get blocked. So while I understand that maybe this kind of behavior is okay in other people's chat, it is not okay here. We don't talk to people like this. You can mean what you say. You can say what you mean, but you do not have to say it mean. And I find that post that you made to Sean very disrespectful. Okay. So let's lower the temperature just a little bit. If you'd like to remain in this chat, that's fine. We are not attacked on opposing viewpoints here. The only time that anybody will ever be nasty to you, unless it's a troll, is if you're doing something disrespectful in this chat. My chat does not like that. It is a rule. So I'm going to give you this verbal warning. Next time, it won't be a verbal warning. You will start getting hit with 5-minute times out. And once I've had enough, I will block you and you'll be blocked permanently. That's if not, again, if you're just here to get some information and things just got out of hand, no worries. That's why I'm just making sure that we discuss it like adults. But the way you're talking in here is not appropriate for my chat. So if you want to conversate and comment in this chat, there are rules you must follow, and being respectful to everyone is a rule that must be followed by everyone. I've kicked out and blocked members of my chat, people that pay to be here. I have blocked because of them being disrespectful. So you can imagine somebody that's newly subscribed to this channel, and I'd like to give you guys a warning. I mean, I love this channel. I like it to grow. I want it to be something that people can get information from. But with that being said, to what end? It's definitely not so that they come here and be treated like crap. Just like I don't want you being treated like crap. So let's just take a break, and you're more than welcome to stay and conversate like an adult and talk to people with respect. And treat people with courtesy, and they will treat you with the same, I promise you, because again, it is a rule. So hopefully that's clarified. Guys, we're past the 2 hours. Many of you know I have a lot of traveling to do today. So I'm going to go ahead and start packing up and getting this, but I wanted to make sure that we hit home that, it's not just YouTubers that struggle for content. It's also mainstream media that struggles for content as well. But I've always prided being factual, being at least people can vet information and it be vetted wrong, or the people that are helping vet the information could be wrong. It happens with everybody. And it's happened to me on several occasions. It will happen to me several more occasions. So it's not that it doesn't happen, even to mainstream media. That's why we retract statements and retract videos and do things of that nature. But this is kind of, it almost has the hint of intentional. And that's where it's going with this, is that this seems to be more in line with being intentionally deceived by them for a click and a view and a news story, as opposed to it being an accident. And that's where it kind of rubs me at least a little wrong in this. But at the end of the day, guys, I just wanted you guys to make at least have the information to make your own decision. I'm glad we don't all parrot each other. This makes for a great conversation in our chat, and I truly enjoy the chat. And I hear from others that come here to visit that they enjoy chatting with everybody in chat. So we do pride ourselves of making the chat friendly to all. But again, one of the rules is you have to be nice yourself. So at the end of the day, I'm going to let you guys go. I want you to have an amazing Sunday. Don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Today is Sunday. If you haven't gotten your good karma banked in your piggy bank, today is the day. Do an act of kindness for a complete stranger. God bless each and every one of you. And until next time, please be safe.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.